views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of the individuals participating in the show. All persons described or mentioned in the podcast should be considered innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. This podcast contains subject matter such as violence and graphic descriptions along with adult language, which may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Somewhere in the Pennsylvania forest, there's a creature so ugly, it literally cries in the anguish. What does this look like? And can we find him? You're listening to the Mysterious Brews podcast, and tonight we bring you the case of the Squonk.
Welcome to a deep, dark, dank, moist basement somewhere in the bowels of Georgia. Well, boys and girls, I'm knocking on 50. Tuesday, a week ago from the time you hear this, I had turned the original once 49.
Damn, man.
It's all downhill. Actually, it was all downhill when I turned 40. Shit started going sideways.
You ain't fucking kidding, dude. It's been like this past 2 years I've gone through have been like, fuck. Like, damn.
Yeah. I'm right there with you, bro. Right there with you. So
I'm two and a half years now.
I'm just like, every year I go have my yearly checkup. I'm like, all right, what doesn't work now? It's kind of like that movie, What Don't You Want?
I love that.
I do too.
Well,
we had this one son of a bitch in here ordered trout. We don't serve no damn trout.
So what don't you want?
I didn't say a question. You want your steak rare, right? Yes, ma'am.
I love it. Well, how's testing going, you old bastard?
Testing's kicking my ass, man. And it's not so much, that's what I was we were talking about it today at lunch. It's not so much like mental stress. It's, well, I don't know. It may be mental stress. I guess just because they read the right, for those of you that don't know a teacher, they read you the right act. If you fart wrong during testing, they can take your certificate.
Yeah, and they will too.
In a heartbeat.
Hey,
thanks, Atlanta.
Dude,
thanks, Atlanta.
you don't fuck with 3 things in school. You don't fuck the kids, you don't fuck the money, and you don't fuck the testing.
That's right.
You do any of those 3 things and your ass is grass.
Speaking of which, Eddie, the comedian he's a former teacher, he sits there and cuts in his commentary for news things about teachers getting arrested or showing up drunk or things like that. He's a former educator and now he's a comedian. He's got one, and I don't know where it went down. I think it was Nevada, maybe Arizona. So one of those two. A substitute teacher gets called the N-word and throws hands with a high school kid and beats the brakes off of him.
Huh? You don't use that word.
That's right. And that's what they said. And the reporter goes, the student allegedly uses the N-word. And Eddie cuts in and goes, I bet it wasn't Notebook.
Look, I remember it was on Fox News and they were having a debate. Which word was worse? And it said cracker or the N-word. And I'm like, if you're not willing to say the one word,
it's worse.
Pretty sure it's the worst word. Like, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, we got any new patrons, my friend?
We do, but like I was telling you earlier, my computer went through some kind of it grew a year older, and I don't know what happened. What are we doing here? That was a year ago. Okay, so the California, CA_coach sent us a message. Says, I obviously don't log in very often. just listened to the Joe Rogan. No, I'm sorry. I just listened to the John Benet Ramsey episode today. You are correct. Everyone and their mother has done an episode on this subject. What they haven't done an episode on is the Monster of Florence. You guys are still doing great. Episodes are getting shorter and shorter, it seems. Ruh-roh, Raggy.
Oh, uh-oh. Fuck it. We'll drop a 3.5 hour one like that Jennings 8 or whatever.
God almighty. I was so tired of talking. We rode home and my son was like, Chatty Cathy, and he's like, are you okay? And I was like, I just spoke for 2 hours straight. No.
Fucking tired.
I'm worn out, boy. Okay, so
Monster of Florence, that's not a bad one.
No, it sure ain't. We do have a new patron. Mr. Chad Winford had some snafu with his Patreon account, and something happened, and like he said, he went and got his wife and she fixed it, so all is well. We were trading Ric Flair sayings, so.
Oh, don't get me started.
Don't believe. Yes, so we got one, Julie McGonigal, at the $3 sticker tier.
Well, yeah, I've been advised that we need a koozie tier.
Well, I got to find some that are worth the shit. And then people ask us all the time about doing koozies with our emblem on it or our decal, whatever, our brand. Here's the deal. I'm not doing like the, whatever that fly-by, Curious Ink or whatever. You can get 800 pins for $6. If I'm going to do a koozie, I want it to be one that you're like, man, where's my Mysterious Brews koozie? That thing's awesome. It keeps it cold. I don't want one of them little thin ones.
I agree with that.
So yeah, I'm still looking.
If you know a koozie company,
or if you know of a koozie that you have, measure that thickness of the foamage and let us know.
I did that in high school.
Did you? Well, they measure in millimeters, so you'd been like a superstar.
Oh shit.
All right, so you have some 5-star reviews, but you have, before we get to that, do you want your
No, we'll get to that in just a second.
Okay.
Let's do the 5-star reviews first. You can't do the
motivational. You can't do the motivational.
Reviews.
Can't do motivational in between.
No. Okay, this is from Ashley C. 1021. She says, "Love 5 stars. Love this show. Not sure how I ended up in this deep, dark, dank, moist basement, but I'm sure glad I did. Hope you guys get more active on TikTok/Instagram if you can. Much love from Florida."
I've been like just plagiarizing the shit out of funny memes and videos on Instagram for our stories. So if you're not following us, follow us on Instagram and check our stories out, because I will put some. I am not afraid to repost somebody's video or meme.
Join the private Facebook page. Mysterious,
yes.
You got to type in groups, Mysterious Brews Podcast, all of it, and you'll find us. And a lot of people are pretty active on there. You want memes? You want links to creepy shit? We got you covered.
You want pictures of sunflowers in a field in South Georgia near Vidalia? We got that too.
Hell fucking yeah.
Shout out to Cody. Now,
praise hell, praise hell.
That's right. One of our OG patrons wants to remain nameless, so I will tell Coach exactly who it is off air, but she listened and heard our plea for the Austin 316 and went and purchased us 2 4-packs. I have them on ice for you, so I'll get you your share.
So fucking excited about that.
He's batting 1,000, so I've not had the double IPA from the original. He did the lager, an IPA, the Broken Skull IPA. Then he did a double IPA for the Broken Skull, and now he's got the 316 IPA. He's doing well, man. He's doing well. We hopefully, maybe, if she will post in the group page. So this is another teaser to get on the group page. I gave her some signage, a little poster that I found that they were running a special on. I got 8 of them things. So we're giving them out to some of our OGs. So if you're an OG, better be checking that mail for a big old cardboard tube. It's not a pipe bomb, I promise.
It's a Mysterious Brews poster.
Yes, you remember when we were going to do the T-shirts and
Yes, I want one.
I got you a poster, man. The catchphrase was our Mysterious Brews established 2019, says from a deep dark basement.
Dang it. It's been 5 years. We've been doing this shit for 5 years. Have we hit 1 million downloads yet? We got to be getting close.
Hold on. Analytics. Let me get there.
If not, lie to me.
Okay, I'll lie to you. We are closing in on 500,000.
Oh, I was wrong. I thought we
That's
had
100,000 a year for somebody that ain't got advertisers.
That's pretty good. Yeah, you're right. Because I still remember.
We got our first 100. We were like, whoa.
Well, yeah, I remember that too. But I remember Brew Crime, like literally celebrating that they got 10,000 in 1 year. I mean, shit, 100,000 a year is pretty fucking good.
Yeah, it is, man.
Anyway, let's do the second. Second 5-star review. It's from Kelster 2. Great JonBenet Ramsey episode, 5 stars. The coach and Arlo they led with me. That's good.
They did.
I already like them. The coach and Arlo are far too modest. I have listened to over 170 JonBenet Ramsey episodes, and this is one of the best. Wow. It is very clear, succinct. A very clear, succinct. Is that a word? Succinct.
Yes, it is a word. Us uneducated folk have to look it up, but it is a word.
I got a fucking master's degree, and I've never seen that word before. But good word usage. We learn stuff. Anyway, it's a very clear, succinct retelling of the case. After she was hit on the head, she was unconscious but alive and had no visible marks. From looking at her, she could have had a concussion and would have recovered. I can't believe parents would strangle their child in that situation. An intruder whose motive was to hurt John by killing his child and having him blamed for it explains all the strange things he did. There were clues to make people think the parents did it, and it worked. Many thanks to the coach and Arlo for their thoughtful analysis.
It was called the succinct. That's how you pronounce it, succinct, and it is a character. It is characterized by clear, precise expression in few words, concise and terse.
Well, see, I don't know how to pronounce it.
Succinct.
That's pretty awesome.
She sent us a much longer email and described more in depth, and I sent you a screenshot of that. And I thought when I saw the title of the email, I was like, oh shit, here we go. We're about to get some hate. But no, she said, and that's the thing with some of these larger cases that have been done. We have to put our own spin on it, but I don't want to bog down in stuff that you could randomly go see a well-produced documentary about. We try to get into more of the theories. And so this week's post-brew hangover for patrons, exclusive to patreon.com/mysteriousbrews, will be us going into one of the conspiracy theories.
That's news to me, so it should be interesting.
Yeah.
Right, so before we get started today, I stumbled across what I think is one of the top 5 best videos on the internet. And I found it, you randomly scroll on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, and every time I come across it, every time I send it to everybody because I think it's the funniest. I don't know why. You might not think it's funny, but I think it's hilarious, and it gives you a little insight to how guys talk to each other
when there is no women folk around.
When there's no women around, and it's a bunch of buddies. But you're going to hear it. You're not going to see it, but there's nothing really to see. They're playing video games, and they're all on a group chat, like a mics. So there's nothing really to see. They're running around a hallway shooting at people. But listen to the audio. It's so fucking funny to me.
Yeah, and the caption says bros before all, and then underneath it says women state, I wish men communicated more. And then underneath that it says how men communicate. So here's how men communicate.
Would you guys be there for me if I was going through something?
No.
Nope.
Absolutely not.
I hope it sucks whatever you're going through.
I hope it sucks.
What the fuck?
I hope it emotionally scars you for the rest of your life.
I hope you reach out to me so I can ignore you.
5 seconds.
I can't wait to go to your funeral knowing that I could have changed that outcome.
Man, what the hell?
Shit got real quick.
I was just asking if you would be there.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is just a small peek inside a man's mind.
That will never not be funny to me.
No, because
That
we make
shit is so
we make
funny, 'cause
inappropriate
that's-
jokes about shit all the time.
That's exactly what, like, I know a lot of people through jiu-jitsu, but I've got like 5 really good friends from jiu-jitsu. And that would be exactly, exactly how they would respond. I can't wait to go to your funeral knowing I could have changed that outcome. I know exactly who of my friend group would say that.
I was gonna say I got 2 guys I still talk to from high school, and it's the same way. You know, you better come heavy if you coming in this conversation. You better not come half-ass. Yeah. All right, boys and girls, we are doing a little lightheartedness, but sticking to our roots.
We're doing the Squonk and Friends.
That's right, Squonk and Friends. So the Squonk and Friends was someone suggested. I think this was a user or listener request, and it states, "What is a squonk?" And it is Pennsylvania's quaint beast that cries over how ugly it is. The squonk is not only said to be, quote, of distinctly low mentality, end quote, but also so ugly it's given to constant crying over its own appearance. Everyone has felt self-conscious about the way they look at some point. The squonk, however, takes it to a whole nother level. In the book, Fearsome Creatures of the Lumber Woods with a Few Desert and Mountain Beasts, published in 1910, it is first recorded and spoken of in the Pennsylvania folklore, and one man in this book says, fairly common in the Pennsylvania hemlock forest. The squonk is a quaint beast, very retiring disposition that typically comes out around twilight or dusk. Hunters looking to bag it supposedly have their best shot, quote, on frosty moonlight nights, end quote. So in looking through this, there was another book published in 2015 called Storytelling and Encyclopedia of Mythology and Folklore. And it describes the squonk as slow. Another book published in 1939 titled Fearsome Critters claims that it can only swim around in circles due to the webbing found on just one foot, the left one.
This is an unfortunate creature.
That is putting it mildly. And they go on
you don't want to be a squonk.
No, they go on to state, but above all else, with its misfitting skin, which is covered with warts and moles, the squonk is probably the homeliest animal in the world and knows it. So, unfortunately, due to, or I guess in spite of its mental dullness, the squonk appears to be painfully aware of just how repulsive it is. It is so painfully aware of its looks that it is, quote, given to constant weeping over his reality-upsetting appearance and can sometimes be tracked by the tear-stained trail it leaves, end quote.
Yeah. Like, are you legit, like an animal so aware of its ugliness? Like, what standard of beauty is it holding itself up to? You know?
Yeah. That's true.
But Yeah, it's so ugly that you track it by its tears.
And that's why it is easily captured when the moon is high, because apart from the tear-stained trail, they tend to just lie in their dens on clear nights for fear of traveling outside and catching a glimpse of themselves in the reflection of a moonlit pool. Now, squonks are notoriously difficult to claim as hunting prizes. Imagine that. Multiple accounts from the book Fearsome Creatures and also the book American Myths, Legends, and Tall Tales tell how individuals who have successfully captured the squonk check their gunny sacks later only to find that the creature had cried so hard it had blubbered itself into a puddle. Even the great American legend Paul Bunyan had a run-in with a squonk.
Well, we all know Paul Bunyan. We found his gigantic, huge skeleton, proving that he was real.
That's right, baby.
Clearly.
Well, Paul and his men stalled in cutting timber when one of his men hears a, quote, odd wailing some distance away. The more the man mimics the wailing, the closer the strange sound gets, until eventually the man is able to apprehend an unsuspecting squonk in a bag. So it's almost like snipe hunting. You got to have a bag. You got to be out there when it's moonlit. Goes on to state,
beer required.
Yeah, lots of beers. It goes on to state, so rarely did it ever get near men that the logger who had caught the squonk was greatly elated and called his friends to the bunkhouse to see the odd creature when he put it on view. Alas, the logger's elation was only momentary, as the squonk did what it does best and dissolved in its distress into nothing but some salt water and bubbles. Now,
damn, I'm glad I'm not a squonk.
Amen. American rock band Steely Dan references the squonk in their song Any Major Dude Will Tell You, with the lyrics, have you ever seen a squonk's tears? Well, look at mine. People on the street have all seen better times. Even Genesis named a single, quote, a trick of the tail, after the crying cryptid.
I mean, Jonestown, Pennsylvania has Squonkapalooza in August. A festival celebration of the ugly ass creature.
Man, why's it always got to be right when school starts?
I know, right? All the good fucking. Well, my school don't start till September, so I could make Squonkapalooza if I wanted to.
You could, bastard.
I might just do it.
So rude, just having all that extra time, and I'm over here sweating my balls off during the damn month of August. You're over there just lapping it up at the pool. The artist renditions of these poor things are bad. Just type in squonk and go to images, and whoo. Ooh. So
those are the type you see squonks at the end of the night at the bar when they turn the lights on.
That's pretty good. So as he so elusively is seen, the squonk today. I've lost my place in my notes. Oh, somewhere on the internet is there's a username or a domain name called the Squonk Opera, and it is a performing arts troupe in Pittsburgh. And in other unexpected and unrelated contexts, you will find the squonk. Oh, man. They love some hemlock trees, but their range has decreased, and it can mean hard times for the small surviving squonk populations. If you have had a squonk sighting, let us know. They're ugly as hell. Whew.
They are. There's not much information. We had the request to do a squonk episode, and
the squonk,
not a lot of info out there.
No, the squonk pictures, like the AI versions, do not do it justice from some of the actual artist renditions, and it is hideous, boys. Think of what are those little fucking Shar-Pei puppies, but it has warts on it, hairless and warted and crying all the time. There you go.
I have no idea.
Yeah, well, now you do. The next one on our lovely list is the legend of the Oklahoma octopus.
Now, this one's more not so cutesy.
No, this one makes you not want to go into those summertime lakes in Oklahoma.
Well, as we know, Lake Lanier here is quite haunted. Not really any cryptids in there, but still, you wouldn't catch me dead in that fucking lake.
No,
well, you
and
might
what's
catch me dead, but I ain't going.
What's funny is a buddy of mine lives up there near Cumming, and he was like, "Hey man, we need to get together and plan a fishing trip." And I was like, "Unless you're coming out of the Cumming area, your ass ain't catching me on a boat in that lake." So Oklahomans, every summertime, find it so damn hot. They just find a body of water and throw themselves in it. And we've all heard about, in the South and the Midwest, human-sized catfish. But allegedly in Oklahoma, there are octopus-like creatures that could be possibly swimming below you. Now, the Native American legends of the Oklahoma octopus have been told for over 200 years. It is a strange aquatic creature with a desire for human flesh, and it resides in many Oklahoma lakes. The alleged creature is described as being the size of a horse with reddish skin and long tentacles. The beasts are said to inhabit Lake Tenkiller in northeastern Oklahoma and Lake Thunderbird in Norman. They said that may be why Lake Thunderbird is extra red, because the color, or the creature's color, comes off in the water. Or perhaps it's just because it's a lake in Oklahoma red dirt. But I'm going probably with the Oklahoma octopus. Now, both lakes have a unusually high number of drownings and unexplained disappearances of swimmers. So there is where the legend has found its foothold, but it gained a little bit more traction when Animal Planet first aired its mockumentary, fake-umentary called Lost Tapes, and most people thought that Lost Tapes were actually lost tapes and didn't read the description. But in 2000...
I hate that they did that. Like that show, and then the fucking mermaids that were, you're the Discovery Channel. You're supposed to be about fucking science. You're not supposed to be making up fake shit and then putting it out as if it was real.
Yeah, there's no telling how much production money they spent to make this fake ass thing. But
because they still, like, people still on the TikToks and the Instagrams and all that shit, I'll still come across reels of that footage from the mermaids.
Yeah, like, now the only guy, there's a fisherman out there here lately. He was out, and you can hear, this is more along the lines of a siren. But,
oh, yes. Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, that guy's had many encounters. So, but...
yeah, he's filming off. You can hear him off the side of the boat, and you can actually see something fucking following the boat.
Yeah.
On each side.
Yeah. And that's why I don't fish at night, boys and girls.
That's why I'm not a sailor, man. I know my dumb ass would fall for a fucking siren.
Hey, baby, come here.
No, come with us. We love you. Yeah. And they're like, okay.
Y'all got beer?
Yeah. We have beer. Like, all right, I'm there.
I'm there. So in 2003, a man found a small red octopus in Arkansas, so it is possible that a giant one could be lurking in Oklahoma.
Lurking?
Lurking?
She could be lurking.
Now, no one knows exactly how the legend began, but it does make you wonder, because most legends have a sliver of truth in them, what could literally be lurking in the depths of some of these big-ass lakes in the middle of the country. Oklahoma octopus sightings must be a sign that there is more than meets the eye below the surface of many a trusted lakes. These are quite odd. Like, there are people that have come up with, and they could have easily been self-inflicted, but they appear to be sucker marks in the middle of Oklahoma while they are swimming. But I don't know, man. Of course, Scientific American did an article, so I'm sure it's tongue in cheek, but many of the Oklahoma news stations have done little things on it after certain, I guess, upticks in sightings. They Atlas Obscura has an article on it. Yahoo News has one. KGOU has a show on their news sighting called How Curious. They've done a couple of episodes on it. And then, of course, there are some Oklahoma octopus YouTube reels out there and little short videos. So I'm not saying there can't be anything, but man, I guess my thing is, would it be considered an octopus in freshwater? This is just showing my ignorance when it comes to science, but
I mean, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know.
It could have adapted.
True.
I mean,
if bull sharks can,
how the fuck did it get there?
That's what I want to know. It says that it is a regular octopus that has evolved to live in fresh water and has grown quite large in that freshwater setting. So they also name another lake, Lake Oolaga, which I'm sure I nailed that one.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So these three lakes, Lake Thunderbird, Lake Ten Killer, and Lake Oolaga, are actually there's a great distance between them three, okay? So there's no way that this one creature could be moving between all three, so there has to be a viable mating population.
Well, maybe there's an underground system of caves that you don't fucking know about. You ever think about that? No, because you only think about your damn self.
Well, the next line says all three of these lakes were man-made.
Well, son of a bitch. Damn it.
Foiled again.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, but basically, if Lake Lanier was out in Oklahoma, there would be rumored to be an octopus, because that's how Native Americans, they said, had explained, some of their tribesmen who were in great shape, swim every day, and then all of a sudden they just drown unexpectedly and are never seen again. So no one has ever come up with a lot of evidence. Again, the Animal Planet lost tapes, you'll probably see some of that footage out there. So I don't know, man. Like I said, there was a guy in Arkansas that found a small octopus in a freshwater lake, and who knows? He might have bought one and was going to have him some calamari, and his wife said, "You ain't cooking that shit here," and he just went and threw it in the lake thinking the fish would eat it, and it may have just flourished. So who knows? They are very smart, motherfucker. I will tell you this.
A fucking octopus.
Or squid, calamari, same
squid.
Thing.
God.
Same God. Well,
you're ruining the integrity of this podcast.
I know. We're on the verge. The octopus and squid are said to be sentient beings, so that is out there, ladies and gents.
Have you heard the theory that octopuses are actually aliens?
Yes, I have. And
because they're just too fucking smart.
Well, and they also, and there's a lot of scientific articles that have been written, and after the summary, I get lost in the jargon, but they make a very good case of how this could have been quite the alien being and has found a nice home here.
Though I do agree that they make a compelling argument. It's just funny, like, we can't accept there's another smart creature out there. Like, no, they're aliens. Like, there's no way on this planet there's something smart as us.
Yeah. All right, so the last one is the Legend of Maryland's Snallygaster.
Damn, we burning through these, man. Somebody just said our episodes are getting shorter, and we're like, oh, we're going to put out a 3-hour one. Now we're going to put out a 22-minute one. Just a fuck. Well, yeah.
The article that I found was on Atlas Obscura, and
talk shit again.
That's right. And
talk shit again. We'll make a 10-minute episode.
We ain't scared. But the author has one, Colin Dickey, drove out in the middle of August between Maryland and Pennsylvania to meet one Sarah Cooper, and she travels to festivals and conventions with her collection of what she calls her own American Snallygaster Museum. She is hoping to open up a permanent Snallygaster Museum in Western Maryland. Now, this one is probably harder to define than any of the other cryptids because it is a baffling mixture of body parts and features that seem to change based on who is telling the story of an encounter. When its existence was first reported back in 1909 in the Valley Register, and that is a newspaper in Maryland, more specifically Frederick County, it was described as having, quote, enormous wings, a long pointed bill, claws like steel hooks, and an eye in the center of its forehead, end quote. Since then, descriptions have varied from very elaborate description by T.S. Mart and Mel Cabre's Guide to Sky Monsters, and said that it was half reptile, half bird with a tentacle-like tongue and sharp teeth. Ed Okonowitz in 2012 stated that it has sharp talons made of hot glowing metal and possesses several octopus-like tentacles.
Yeah, I was noped out already. I noped out as soon as you said metal claws.
Well, metal claws, one eye in the forehead. Yeah, I'm out.
Maybe I'd be able to tolerate one eye in the forehead, but when you got the metal claws, I'm fucking down. And they're hot. Like, no.
All right, so Sarah.
No.
Sarah's traveling museum holds newspaper clippings, children's books, a model of the creature perched on a log with black wings, silver claws, one eye, and a face full of red tentacles. It is Lovecraftian. It's kind of been described as that. It's an otherworldly demon, as someone else has put it. Sarah first heard about the Snallygaster when she moved to the area in 2013 and was so intrigued that she basically spent her free time between travel nursing assignments, so she's making the bank, that she just fell down the rabbit hole and has never climbed out. She says that she's never put any stock in the creature's actual existence, but she has made it her mission to give it a bigger presence, thinking this cryptid may have died out. Unlike some of the other ones, Snallygaster's origins are really easy to trace. In early 1909, some strange tracks left in the snow outside a New Jersey home led to a furor over the Jersey Devil, now a beloved member of the pantheon of American cryptids. That's like Mount Rushmore for cryptids. The Jersey Devil, Bigfoot, Nessie, Yeti. But anyway.
Jersey Devil, that's something we haven't covered that we might want to.
And the back history on that is odd. And it kind of details into, and we've never picked back up on our devil thing. There's plenty of devil things out there that we just kind of stopped.
Yeah, we kind of gave that up, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
We could
revive that.
Foosball is the devil.
The devil. Now, less than a month after the Jersey Devil sighting began, the Valley Register in Maryland, like I said, ran a story about a man named Bill Gifferson who had been walking home when a winged creature attacked him, carried him up a hill, slashed his jugular with its beak, drained his blood, finally dumped his lifeless body in a ravine.
Damn.
Yeah, they don't mess around. They go right for the jugular. Now,
I thought this was a lot harder episode.
Well, it made a hard turn at Albuquerque. I can tell you that. Now, there was a flurry of other stories and sightings following this man's body being discovered. In one report, a man happened upon a snallygaster as it was draining a 100-gallon tub of water because it was thirsty, in which the man claimed he must have been dry, and the snallygaster supposedly told him that he had needed a good drink because he had been killed in the Battle of Chickamauga.
Well, that's close to me.
Yeah. So as though the fearsome dragoness creature was somehow the ghost of a dead Civil War soldier. Surger. This went on until July, when a final article in the Valley Register described a scientific expedition to discover the nocturnal monster's lair, whereupon it erupted from the ground and flew to, of all places, Virginia.
It is for lovers.
Maybe West Virginia, because we go Jersey Devil, Snallygaster, could be West Virginia.
Never know. That's where Mothman hangs out.
That's right, man. They wing it.
They're all together.
They over there.
They meet every other Tuesday for a poker game.
Speaking of which, remind me to tell you the sign that I saw today when I went to eat lunch off air.
Well, tell me.
I can't tell you in here because it'll give away some dare secrets, but I was crying. It was so funny. But anyway.
Oh, man. Share with the people.
No, I can't share with the people, man. It'll give away the gory details. So getting back at it, the excitement got as far as Baltimore, but the snallygaster failed to enter the national lore as the Jersey Devil had. But just because something is obvious as a retelling of a story doesn't mean it doesn't have some truth to it. Like all legends, there is a little bit of truth somewhere. And the snallygaster, although it may be a copycat of the Jersey Devil, offers a strange, fascinating, and a very unsettling story on its own. It's a story about what hides in the mountains.
It might not be a copycat. It might just be the Jersey Devil, and it's just been called something else because, when they first started seeing them, they didn't know about the fucking Jersey Devil.
Well, and that's kind of like she's done a lot of history on the area, and she said that it's actually the snallygaster is derived from a German word, Schnelligast, or quick ghost, and that is a term that usually denotes some kind of poltergeist. And in the 19th century, Western Maryland saw a flood of German immigrants who settled there in the settled there as the Seneca people were pushed farther west. So they brought their German folklore and superstitions with them. It says as the physician and polymath Johann Jakob Schuster wrote in his 1723 travel log of the Alps, the mountains were filled with, quote, scaly dragons and slimy dragons, dragons with wings and feet, dragons with 2 legs and 4 legs, with and without wings, and sometimes without wings or legs, but the objectional heads with semi-human features and an expression at once humorous and malignant all in one, end quotes. So basically they're saying that this was just folded into the Appalachian folklore. But Madeline Vinton Dahlgren, a D.C. socialite who relocated to Maryland in the 1870s, published a book on folklore around the area called South Mountain Magic, Tales of Old Maryland in 1882. In said book, it included the tale of the hoop snake, a dreaded creature that, quote, puts its tail in its mouth when in pursuit of a victim and rolls so rapidly that it catches you and kills whoever touches it. But basically, it goes on to say in the 1930s, Jewish Austrian literature scholar Leo Spitzer settled at Maryland's Johns Hopkins University, suggested that the snallygaster was likely derived from, quote, the wild hunt. And that is an old story with Norse and Christian origins. In this story, a troop of damned souls ride the sky between Christmas and the Epiphany, chased by the wild hunter, which is usually the Norse god of wind and dead, Odin, snatching unwary travelers, especially children, along the way. Aside from Spitzer, very few scholars have attempted to unravel the meaning of the snallygaster, and perhaps because it's too obscure, too regionally focused, or just too bizarre. And that's some things that we've noticed with some of these cryptids. There's a lot of very localized cryptids, like the Oklahoma octopus, the squonk, snallygaster. On the coast of Georgia, the Ultima ha 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 ha. And I'm gonna tell you something. If you find somebody that has lived on the coast of Georgia for a while, and they have familial ties down there,
Ultima ha 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 ha. Wait a minute. Wait. The Ultima ha ha is not on the coast. It's on the other side. It's in a river.
It's right there where it's where the river empties into all that marshland. Come on, my God! Now we're splitting hairs. Here we go. You just mad?
Why am I mad?
I don't know. That's why you acting that way.
I got no reason to be mad. The coach is happy, man.
So we go on to say that some people think that it emerged from the old world, but by the time it found its way to the U.S., it had taken more of a fantastical and bizarre aspect, with reports of it sounding more like absurd tall tales. During the initial flurry of reports, the Hagerstown Mail ran a report that, here you go, the Smithsonian had attempted to classify the creature. Quote, they write back that it's either a winged Bovolupus or a snallygaster, as it has some of the characteristics of both. These animals are exceedingly rare, and the hide of the snallygaster is said to be worth $100,000 a square foot, as it is the only thing known that will properly polish punctal shells, which was used by Africans of the Umbobalibin for ornaments, end quote. And that's a mouthful. There is a litany of nonsense with a vague scientific veneer in what P.T. Barnum called a humbug, not so much a hoax per se, but what Barnum self-servingly described as a put-on by a, quote, honest man who nonetheless arrests public attention, end quote. So Barnum's saying that the snallygaster is a humbug. There's a book that talks about how people have copycatted other cryptids and tall tales, and the snallygaster is mentioned in there along with Barnum. Sarah's hope, like I said, is to actually get a brick and mortar museum that would house some of the original articles and basically just some local history. I think her heart's in the right place. She's just trying to preserve some of this stuff. But she imagines that what would be great if someone could give her a specimen that she could put on display. But for now, it's just a bit of folklore localized to the state of Maryland. And it says that her grandpa would tell her how it would hide in the porta potties and bite you on the butt. In 1932, news reports appeared suggesting that the snallygaster was drawn to moonshine stills hidden in the mountains. On December 12th, the Register announced that the snallygaster had fallen into a 2,500-gallon vat of backwoods corn liquor after being overcome by the fumes. By the time the officials got there, the alcohol had completely eaten away the animal, leaving only its bones, which were, for some reason, subsequently dynamited. Now, Dragon Distillery in Frederick now sells its version called the Snallygaster Rye. Rye whiskey.
I wouldn't mind a bottle or two.
No, sir. I wouldn't either.
Partner, take one.
Now, of course, we now get into the sightings in the 40s, which are around UFOs and the Middletown Valley. 1949, there is some outcries of a snallygaster being reported in the Baltimore Sun. I mean, it kind of goes back and forth. But like I said, she's trying to basically keep history alive with her newspaper clippings, books, and tall tales, or I guess local accountings. But anyway, I do believe that is the snallygaster. We will put up some artist renditions of said cryptids. But if you have we always say this, if you have a legitimate sighting, let us know, man. We love this shit. I want to believe all of them are out there. But alas, until we get a body. Okay, so since we have been accused of making short episodes, and this may be a full length episode where we actually dive down this one a little bit deeper. The lady OG patron, when got the beard this past weekend, she was saying that she had started researching how the missing 411 may be feral people, and how in some of the instances of certain children at certain times that go missing, FBI agents or even the military are called in to look for missing persons. And that kind of throws up a red flag that the federal government knows of, like a clan of these feral people. And it kind of ties into that whole M. Night Shyamalan, The Village, where it's a huge ass national forest and no one's the wiser except a couple of the old hats. The more you look into some of those missing 411 things, especially in some very rural areas, there's a lot of feral people sightings. And
dude, I'm telling you, man, like, that's not bullshit. Like, that's legit. Like, look up the Melungeons.
Yeah.
Look them up. They're real. They're not. That's no bullshit.
No, it is
and
not.
Like, shit, where I live, man, there's fucking national. There's a state forest that's like well over half my county is mountain area. Like,
yeah, and the Unabomber, or not Unabomber, but the Olympic bomber was said to have hit out up there in said national state forest.
Dude, no bullshit. My father likes to gamble. Well, he did. He doesn't really do it anymore. But he would drive. He'd never take me with him, and he's got good logic. I'll tell you his logic. But he would go to Murphy, North Carolina all the time and gamble. Sometimes he'd just take $100 bill with him. As soon as he loses it, like, he'd be there for 5 minutes, lose $100, turn around and leave.
That's some damn self-control right there, buddy.
He'd win like $17,000 and stay,
Till he had $100 left.
But the reason why he wouldn't take nobody, he said, you got to go. He said, you have to go to casino alone, because when I decide I'm done and I'm leaving. Now, if you're with me and you're hitting you hit a little thing, you win a couple $100, you're going to keep spending it. He said, he goes, if I'm done, what the hell am I going to do? I'm sitting in a casino, not gambling. He goes, no, I will gamble more than I need to. He said, so therefore I need to be able to leave when I decide to leave. And I'm like, that makes perfect sense.
Yes, it does.
Anyway, he swears that he saw a hitchhiker one time up in that area. And he swears that in hindsight, like it dawned on him like a couple hours later that was Eric Rudolph hitchhiking. He said, he goes, I considered picking him up. He said, but when he looked at me, I looked at him. He goes, there was something about him. I was like, nah, I'm not going to pick him up. But he swears it is Eric Rudolph.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Oh, the Atlanta bomber.
There's a friend of mine.
I mean, that's the area he was in.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where he was found. He was found in North Carolina, in that area.
There was a friend of mine that was part-time law enforcement, and then he went back and got into the Border Patrol, and now he's in ICE and stuff like that. But anyway, he said
he's on ice?
Yeah,
he's frozen.
He's frozen. He said that they were at some kind of training, and that got brought up, and one of the lead investigators said that you're not going to catch him because he had some familial ties up there in the mountains until he runs out of his cache of food and survival stuff. He said, and then whatever town he staggers into to find food, you're going to catch him, trying to rummage through dumpsters, finding food. And sure enough, that's how they got him.
How they found him.
Yeah. All right. So that is the trifecta of cryptids this week. Recommendations. I've got 2, to be honest with you. Well, you might have.
Yeah, here we go.
You might have one of the same ones, so I'll let you go first. And if you do,
I can assure you I do not. You go ahead.
Okay. Well, my first one, and I had mentioned this earlier a couple of weeks ago in our group chat, the Mysterious Brews group chat.
Yeah, we got a lot of tiers, man. We got a public page, and then you got to join the private page, and then you can join the private page chat.
And then you get your decoder ring and tie tack.
Yeah. Yeah, we got a lot of fucking tiers here, man. Like, there's a lot of layers to this.
One person, and I'm not going to pull it up, so don't get butthurt that I didn't shout you out this week. I will definitely shout you out as soon as you're like, hey, you sons of bitches, I'm the one that recommended that. So you'll get it next week, your official shout out. I just can't remember who it was now. Recommended the podcast Murder 101. Y'all, traveling back and forth to testing, I have binged every episode of this thing. And as a teacher, it kind of struck a chord with me, but it also solidified some, I guess, theories that were put forth by Miss Buchholz in our Zodiac case about how law enforcement thinks God handed them their notebook and pen and their badge, and they just will not allow outsiders to help solve cases. And this podcast is a prime example, and it just pisses me the fuck off, to be honest with you.
I think that's true in a lot. I think it's absolutely true in a lot of ways. They won't accept help. They think that they're ordained by God to do what they do.
I just don't get it. Now, towards the end of the episodes, it sounds like there's going to be a second season. God, I hope so. But towards the end of the second season, one of the main guys says that he had gotten into contact with a sheriff of a small rural county. And this all takes place in Elizabethton, Tennessee, up in the northeast corner of Tennessee. But he had gotten in contact with, like I said, a sheriff, and the guy's just a good old boy, down to earth. And he's like, hell yeah, man, I'll help you any way I can. So he's kind of got an in now that he can get an official channel of communication with the TBI. But man, you know what? At the end of the day, and they do a great job of, look, we're not trying to solve this case because basically it's been solved. We know who did it. We just have a lot of people that fall into this guy's MO, and there's still Jane Does out there in his wake that just need identifying. And that's what they have set out to do. So I don't see, I guess this one really pissed me off more because I just don't see why law enforcement would drag their feet on this and then, take credit for some stuff. Hell, you've had this case for 30 something years, almost 50 years, to be honest with you. going on 40 years. And, you know, it wasn't until about 6 years ago that there was some movement and some bodies started being identified, and it just pisses me off, man. But I will say this. The underlying current of that podcast is there's hope for this next generation, man. There really is. And I'll leave it at that and not give too much away. So I'll let you go with your recommendation, and then if yours is not my second one, I'm going to throw that one out there too.
It's not. My recommendation is a YouTube page called The Unsolved. It's a small YouTube page, just getting started, but it's good. The girl on there is, she's very good. She's very knowledgeable. She knows what she's doing, and you should definitely check it out.
So
give her a follow. Let's support podcasts. Let's support true crime pages, man. We got to get the information out there, and she does a really, 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 really good job. So check her out, man.
Well, any of you that have followed us know that we ride Miss Buchholz's coattails, and she's very gracious to us to drag.
We're clinging to them coattails.
Yeah.
Where she's
dragging us to the finish line, baby.
Messed up getting close to us because her fame keeps increasing, and we're just going to be like, hey, don't forget about us, man.
Right. And we're such trolls. Anytime she's on national TV, we take pictures and send them to her.
Yeah, I'm like, I know her.
I know that lady.
I know that lady.
So anybody that's been following her work, she is the one, along with Catherine Townsend, that kind of put Rebecca Gould's case on the map. And there was a shit show with the Dateline episode, and it was skewed one way. But the CW network did an episode for their new crime series called Crime Nation on Rebecca's case, and they interviewed Rebecca's father, Dr. Gould. They also interviewed author George Jared. Catherine Townsend really gave Catherine the credit she deserved with reinvigorating that case. She talked about the two ladies that, along with our cheerleader that handed us the case, those three ladies kind of kept that story alive. And, of course, Miss Buchholz come in and
it got solved because of them.
Took a scientific approach and kind of realized real quick, hey, it's not going, something don't add up. And so, yes, they did. And they explain how the investigation just kind of stalled. And then after many, many years of public outcry and people pestering the shit out of the Arkansas State Police, a new investigator was put on the case. And lo and behold, within less than 2 years, we got us a suspect and we got us a confession. So anybody that followed Rebecca's case, this CW, it's about an hour and 25 minutes, I think. The CW app is free. You can, any smart TV, smartphone, whatever, download it. You can watch it. It is very well produced. They do a great job of tying that whole story together. But they do, leave you with, they don't feel like the whole story's been said. So, and like we do. But anyway, those are my two double dippers. So there you got it, boys and girls. All right. So a little disclaimer. We're not really giving CA_coach shit. We had kind of had a little bit of pushback about some of our episodes going too long. And so we tried to consciously, subconsciously keep it around an hour because that's what the majority of our folks want. Now, we ain't scared to throw out a Joe Rogan 3 hour. I mean, I'll pause the shit out of something in a heartbeat and we'll come back to it. But we do have another famous case that we will be spitballing / kind of JonBenet Ramsey-ing with just the facts and some theories and some updates on it. So stay tuned to that.
Another user request.
Yes.
A listener request. I say user. Listener request. We do.
He said do.
We do listener requests. So if you have one, let us know.
We also have the OG patron. She has a case near and dear to her heart, and we are going to do that one. You buy us beer, your case gets moved to the top.
1,000%. If you buy us beer, yours is next.
Yeah, I don't care if we're over here reviewing women's underwear. We're drinking your beer, reviewing underwear.
Yeah. If you say, hey, I'll buy you a 12-pack if you talk about the best paint available at the hardware store.
By God, we'll get it.
We will do a paint episode.
We'll take this show on the road to true value. But
we are hoers.
Yes, we are.
We are hoers.
We are hoers for the beer, the yeast, barley, and hops. But as we close in on the 5th, starting our 6th year coming up in July.
Crazy.
It is crazy, man. I will say this. It is better than therapy most of the time. Even though I sit in front of a computer most days and teach, it still is a hell of a lot of fun. And when it stops being a hell of a lot of fun, we will stop doing it. But until then, or until we get corporate sponsors, we ain't changing for nobody.
Yeah. But the moment somebody gives us actual, like, substantial amount of money and be like, oh, we want you to do this. Yes, sir.
Yep. This will be the best research podcast on the planet because we, like he said, we are hoers.
Right. I'm going to give you $10,000 if you do it this way. Done.
Yep. I don't give a shit if I have to travel an hour and a half to record. I'm doing it. All right, boys and girls. Coach, you got anything else you want to tell everybody out there?
Oh, you know I don't.
Deuces.